Hello and welcome to my second video for this project. So far I've foiled the topper using a cut foil and emboss die, and I've added some flowers and I've mounted that onto my card, and that was using the Flourish frame cut foil and emboss die from the Modern Essentials collection. And for the sentiment I'm going to be using this part from the bracket frame set to create frames for the sentiment and happy birthday hot foil stamp for the words. I'll just put these out of the way. So what I've done is I've cut a piece of foil, and it's a bit bigger than I need. Okay, but I've taped it down to my card, and then I'm going to foil this in the centre of it. Okay, now to make sure it ends up in the right place and straight, because I want to be able to put the frame around it, I'm going to get this lined up, and I'm going to use sort of magnet you use for a stamping platform. The technical term is they're a neodymium magnet. I bought some spare stamping platform magnets and I've covered them in masking tape so that I can get hold of them easily and peel them off things, because they're very strong magnets, and they tend to ping together and stick to things. And in fact, the other one in this pair has stuck itself to my scissors. So I'm going to position this, and then I'm going to just reach behind and let the magnet stick there, which means I can move that around without it moving its position. Okay, the magnets are that strong. So my Go Press and Foil is now ready to use. So what I'm going to do is open it up, and I'm going to put my happy birthday on, but I'm going to do it attached to the card. So I'm going to turn this upside down, and I'm going to position this so that my card is against the side and the end, and then I'm going to slide my magnet off, and then I'm going to pick my card up again, and I'm going to leave that to come up to temperature. You're probably at this point thinking, well, why not just leave it all there together? Well, one of the ways of avoiding or trying to avoid over foiling is to make sure your hot foil stamp is at temperature, and then put the foil on and roll it straight away rather than leaving it all to heat up. So that's what I'm doing. So that just needs to have a few seconds to warm up because it's not a large hot foil stamp. And while it's doing that, I'm going to bring in my die cutting machine. No, it doesn't even need that long. So before I go any further, that's come up to temperature. So I'm going to put the card on, and I'm going to use just one small piece of tape to keep it in position. So my foil is stuck to my card, so I don't have to worry about sticking that on separately. I can just put my card there. I'm going to tape it at one end so that it can't get moved as the lid comes down. Add my two shims that I normally use because that works well with my die cutting machine. Close the lid. Let's put that back on the base while I get the die cutting machine. Okay, so Go Press is ready, the die cutting machine's ready. So I just need to roll this through. It's rolling steadily, and I can feel when I get to the hot foil stamp. Just keep winding slowly, and then back again. So for the cut foil and emboss dies, I need to use a thin metal shim. It's probably about the thickness of a couple of pieces of card, this one, and I use a piece of card underneath to give me some extra thickness, and that seems to give me the right pressure with these cut foil and embossed dies. I don't use the Couture Creations conversion plate, because I found that gives me far too much pressure in my die cutting machine. My Big Shot Plus is quite tight, so die cutting machines vary, so you might need that much pressure. So I found I didn't. So next I need to position. I'm going to put this on the base so it warms up. So while that is sorting itself out, I can position the cut foil and embossed die where I want it over my sentiment. And I can see where my sentiment is because the foil is still there and it hasn't been moved. I just need to stick that down. It only really needs to stick to the foil. It doesn't matter if your tape goes on the card as well. So just enough so that when you move it about, it's not going to move relative to the foiling you've already got. So there we are. So that's in place. The Go Press says it's at temperature. So I shall pop the die onto it. And as you can see, my lid is quite scratched. It is designed to act as a cutting plate. So this goes with the die down onto the metal plate and your card facing upwards. And then that needs to warm up because the die at the moment is cold. And I want it to foil and cut, so that needs to heat up. I've forgotten the stage. Before I do that, I want to mask off under here. So let me just lift this off. Now, sometimes this is okay without a mask and sometimes it isn't. So I'm just going to use a piece of scrap that I've got left from where I've trimmed to make my backing paper. And I just want a piece to just hold the foil away from what I've already got there. Okay, so I'm just sliding it underneath. It doesn't need to cover it all. That will just help keep the foil off the surface. Let's position this again. That's it. Now I'm going to put that on the Go Press. So it goes that way up, which is why I've stuck the foil plate down so it stays where I want it. That goes there. I don't need any shims, but that does need to come up to temperature. So while I'm waiting, I'll get the die cutting machine. Okay, so my Go Press and foil has come up to temperature. The green lights come on, so I'm going to wind this through my die cutting machine. Just forwards and backwards should be enough. Move this out the way. Let's have a look at this. So I can, if you're worried about it being hot, you can use the pick and lift for this. So I can just pick that up. I always put the heated part back on the base to stay warm. Okay, so this is just fallen out. When it's cool enough, don't forget to take your die off your card before you tidy up. Don't want anybody accidentally throwing dies away. Because it's just got a thin edge, it cools down very quickly. So here we are. I can pull this back. that's the 4 that might have ended up unwanted. And on my lettering, and there's my sentiment. This lovely, I've cut my nails and I can't pick anything up. This lovely fine line around the edge and cut out as well. So there we are. I've got one tiny little bit at the edge there that's missed. I think there's probably going to be a flower over that. So there we are. So I'm doing this card in another colourway as well. So there's basically going to be 2 sets of videos, I think, because I want to show how the other colourway works as well. And this is such a new technique. I want people to have lots of opportunities to see it in action. Okay, thanks for watching.